rightly too, that the local government is the foundation of development in any country, and that the aggregate development of the local governments will constitute a national development. And that is the reason why people are clamoring for the independence of the local government. And people like me will stop at nothing to continue to pursue this autonomy for the local government, because I was a local government chairman for years in my time, and I know that finances of the local governments were coming directly to the local governments. And we had some legacy projects littering the whole place in our local communities. And I think it's a better thing for Nigeria if local governments are granted autonomy and constitutional provisions are made for them to be autonomous and live up to the expectations of the ordinary Nigerian at the grassroots.
So let us quickly recall some few incidents that happened within June and today. Do you remember that encounter? Prayers being sent to email.
Well, I remember very well, and I think it was unfortunately sensationalized and blown out of proportion. And people who have come to terms with the presidency of the Senate of distinguished Senator Godswill Obotakpabio should know that he cracks jokes a lot. And some of the routine practices of the Senate have been thrown up in the open. Again, I do not see anything that is particularly wrong in what he said, but maybe the way he said it and the choice of words that he used in Nigeria now, if you make little slips or little jokes people don't understand, they'll blow it out of proportion. Otherwise, I can tell you that on a regular basis, on festivities, because senators go home to their various constituencies, provisions are made in the budget of the National Assembly that some provisions be made to assist senators and also House of Rep members to at least attend to their people when they go home. And this one was not an exception, except that it was presented in a manner that Nigerians quickly picked up and started criticizing the National Assembly for.
The criticism even became stronger when they gathered that you guys still went ahead to get yourself SUVs, despite the public outcry that came around with.
Well, there has
some. Explain that.
Let me.
At the time when you're telling the people to tighten their belts.
No. The tightening belts doesn't even exclude legislators. Let me tell you this. Giving SUVs and cars to legislators to enhance their capacity to perform their duties is not the first time. It's not peculiar. It's not unique to the 10th Senate. It's very unfortunate that it's coming at a time when things are particularly hard for this. But what I find amusing or intriguing is the fact that when it concerns the National Assembly, people raise all manner of highs and cries and hues and the rest of them. Otherwise, in the 9th Senate, we were given SUVs. All of us, senators. And the House of Representatives, maybe because of their numbers, were given cars. In the 80th Senate, the same thing. So it's not something that is unique to the 10th Senate. You know, unless Nigerians are saying that it is a luxury to give cars to people to work. Otherwise, what about ministers? Even directors, permanent secretaries in government ministries and the rest of them. They all have government vehicles attached to them. The villa has vehicles attached to relevant officials for the performance of their duties. So it's unfortunate that that of the Senate has become an issue for public debate and condemnation. Otherwise, again, like I said, it's not a new thing. It's not as if it's something that the 10th Senate just exhumed from nowhere and then started doing it. But like I said, if you check the records of the National Assembly, the 9th Senate gave SUVs to all senators. I got one. I still use the one I got, over 4 years now. House of Rep also got. And I can come to you that the 80th Senate also got cars for senators and House of Rep member. So it's not a new thing. But I want to think that, yes, we're here, we're senators, we work for the people of Nigeria. I know that our performances may not have met the expectations of Nigerians. But that is not to say that we should not be given necessary facilities to be able to perform, even to the expectation of the same Nigerians. So I think that what they should say, and I expect some to say so, is to whom much is given, much is expected. And so legislators, senators, you've been giving cars, people are suffering, go and attend to the life of the sufferings of the people. Electricity is epileptic, go and attend to it, go and fix it. There are no infrastructures, no roads, no hospitals, go and attend to them. Schools are broken down, go and attend to them because we have given you everything that you require to do the job. I think that is what is expected of, that is what I expect Nigerians to tax, to challenge the legislators with, and not to say that they should not be given vehicles. Otherwise, there are some people who are first-timers here, who have never been to any legislative house before or worked in any government place before. They are here. How are they going to come to work? Or maybe somebody is going to say that they should provide buses to traverse the environment of Abuja, because we don't live in the same place. There is no provision of housing for anybody, unless they are saying provide buses, let senators indicate their location, so in the morning buses will come and pick them. Then at the close of work, buses will take them back. Unless that is what they are suggesting. Otherwise, while we sympathize very sincerely with the predicament of the average Nigerian, I think that legislators need to also be encouraged to do as much as they can to ameliorate the conditions of the Nigerian people.
Is the 10th Senate tied to the apron string of the executive? You seem to be approving all manners of laws, all the laws approval, blah, 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 like that.
Well, my brother, I think that is one of the banes of our legislatures. And I can say it's a little unfortunate, but I think that we will approve what we think is good for the Nigerian people. Some of these issues are seen from different perspectives, and to some people, they are not good. But don't forget that the Nigerian people voted for a party, voted for some people to preside over the government and the people of Nigeria for 4 years. And so, for me, I believe that we should give the ruling party every support, every collaboration, every encouragement to perform to the optimum. Because if we keep shouting from today till tomorrow, if we keep antagonizing ourselves for the sake of antagonizing ourselves till tomorrow, I want to believe that it's the ordinary Nigerian that will be suffering out there. And so, if the federal government, for instance, presents a budget of 27.5 or whatever trillion naira, and they think that that is what is enough to fix the Nigerian situation, and they think that they can find the money to execute the project, if you allow me, I will say, let us give it to them and let them do the work. But I can assure you that when things come up against the interests of the ordinary Nigerian, things that we think are not correct, even if others will not say anything, I can assure you that PDP as a party will raise a voice and point to Nigerians what they think is not correct.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope I was able to wrap up the 10th Senate briefly.
In the minority leadership positions, had their elections voided by the courts, Court of Appeal precisely. And that created a vacuum, or some vacuum, so to say, in the leadership of the minority. And in the wisdom of our colleagues, they felt that power abhors vacuum, and therefore those positions must be filled up. So at the level of the PDP, it was also decided that the PDP, as the dominant opposition party should have 3 of the 4 positions, and that the remaining position should be for the other minority parties, just like it played out in the House of Representatives in the first place. And so we went to the field to canvass for support amongst our colleagues. You will recall that the Senate President read a list of 41 persons out of the 49 opposition members endorsing me for the position of minority. And 30 of the same 49 endorsed Senator Osita Ngo of Enugu State, himself a member of the PDP. Eventually, Tony Nwoye was able to get about 13 votes or signatures for the same position. But the truth about it is that at the end of the day, the drama started unfolding when, after the pronouncement of Abba Moro as the minority leader, the Senate President went on to pronounce Senator Osita Ngo as the minority whip. And the members of the Labour Party, spearheaded by Tony Nwoye, felt aggrieved that the position of whip was regionally with the Labour Party, and naturally they expected that another Labour Party person, apparently Nwoye, who agitated for it or who canvassed for it, should have been supported to become the minority whip, which was not to be. And so that led to some level of agitation and uproar in the Senate on that day. I think it's a matter of management of elections that we talk about in Nigeria. And so if you leave me, I will say that in all democracies, there are no 2 official opposition parties. There's only one. Of course, the other parties that have produced members in such legislatures have their own caucuses and their leaders. But when it comes to official recognition as to opposition minority, opposition this and that, it's usually the dominant political party. And in this particular instance, it is the PDP. Prior to the court processes and the rest of them, the PDP had 38 senators against 12 by all the other political parties put together. And so I think ab initio, it would have been inappropriate for 38 senators to share 50-50 with 12 senators when it's a game of numbers and in democracy. That is if it is necessary at all to share, if it is within the tenets of even democracy to share. But because we wanted some level of stability in the beginning, wanted some level of peace in the beginning, and the circumstances that threw up the leadership, the PDP and other parties accepted what was put forward at that time. But society is dynamic, and especially politics is dynamic. And so as time moved on, I think it dawned on the leadership of the PDP or the caucus of the PDP that ordinarily it is the PDP that is supposed to have these positions. And that is what played out.
But how are you managing, you're now the minority leader, how are you managing the aftermath of what played out?
Well, you know, time is the greatest healer. People were aggressive, very agitated in the beginning. But, of course, a good politician, a realistic politician will know that the reality on ground is that members of the opposition parties have endorsed the 2 of us to replace the 2 senators.
Did they expose anything in the leadership, in the overall leadership of this 10th Senate? Did that episode expose maybe high-handedness on the side of the Senate President, or maybe because one was saying, are we your slave, are we your slave? I remember that report very well.
Well, I think, again, that is an inappropriate legislative behavior, because It wasn't the Senate President that endorsed me. It wasn't the Senate President that endorsed Tony Osita Ngu. It was members of their party. And I can tell you that nobody asked me for a dime, and I never gave a dime to anybody to endorse me as a Senate Minority Leader. And like the Senate President said that day, 41 persons out of 49 had endorsed me as a Minority Leader, and we had agreed to change. So, what reason would he have not to announce me as a Minority Leader? And out of 49, 30 had also endorsed Tony Osita Ngu. Again, he asks, what reason does he have not to announce the senator from Enugu State? He didn't have any reason why he shouldn't. And of course, again, I think it's the whole idea of the management of elections in Nigeria. Otherwise, he as a presiding officer, that was what played out in the first place in the beginning, that about 38 persons had signed for Simon Malcolm to become the Minority Leader, and we took it. The same number signed for Darlington Mukocha, and we took it. And it's the same Senate President that announced it. So I don't see any high-handedness on the part of the Senate President on this one, because it's the same process that threw the other leaders up, that threw us up again. And so, and I think expressing that outburst on the floor of the Senate was inappropriate. And under normal circumstances, it should have been sanctioned, because what played out had nothing to do with slavery at all. And like I said, yes, he announced it, but the Senate President wasn't the one that signed the 41 signatures or the 30 signatures for us to emerge as leaders of the opposition party.
Thank you, sir.